Hello YouTube. Alright, so this is table analysis where we dig into racks and take a deeper look at the decisions and choices to make during those racks. In today's I've got a couple of runs and a couple of safeties and a push. So let's start with this first rack. This is a run. It had several interesting choices in it, and so let's walk through these. Okay, pretty good break. Now, let's start right at the beginning. So the first thing that I notice is that if I can get through the 1, the 2, and the 3, the 5 is going to give me an automatic leave on the 7. The 7 is going to give me a decent leave on the 8, which will leave me the 9 nicely. So the main goal here is to get through the 1, the 2, and the 3 without leaving myself hidden on the 5. If I can do that, I can run these. So the 1's an interesting position. The obvious choice for it is to hit the 3 and play the combination. The 3's obviously in the way. My choices are I can put it in there, I can put it up here, or I can bank it to here. Those are my 3 choices on this shot. So let's look at each one of those individually. So the first most obvious one is let's play for the 3. And if we do that, the cue ball is nearly straight. It's going to naturally tend off this way, and the 1 ball is going to hit that. It's going to hit off the 2, and it's going to go this way. Well, this is not what I would call an ideal situation, because with it doing that, first of all, we're moving the 2, and we don't know if it's going to end up behind the 8 or if it's going to do something weird and run across into the 9. Second, we're putting the cue ball behind the 8 ball for a good portion of the leave that we need. So the 2 ball rolls over here, and we end up with no real good shot on the 2 unless we hit it hard enough to bounce off the rail and back out to where it is, in which case the cue ball runs down here, could be behind the 9, could be anywhere. So really not a good choice. So the combination's not good. So the next shot that you always want to try for straight shots if you can, is this one. And if we do this, then the cue ball makes contact here, and the natural angle of the cue, the tangent line, is going to be somewhere out here. Now I know that that angle is not a 90-degree angle. That's because we're looking at this at an angle on the table. Now here's the problem with this. This comes down. Let's follow the full path of the 1 ball. Okay, comes there. It picks up a little bit of spin from this contact, cut-induced spin, and then it comes out this way. Okay, what do we have for the 2 ball there? And by the way, if it impacts the 3 ball, then the cue ball rolls out this way. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, if we make that, so first of all, we have to hit it hard enough to make it, and it's a fairly thin cut, so the cue ball is going to keep speed. Let's say that they both go equal speed and we hit it just hard enough to get here. That's going to put our cue ball somewhere here. Well, that's behind the 7, so we have to hit it harder than that. At what point along this line do we have a good shot at the 2? Well, it kind of looks like we might get one way, way, way out here. However, we're making contact with the 3, and it's going to roll up, and that 2 ball is going to roll this way. So we're really not getting a good shot here at all. So again, not a great shot. So what's our other choice? Our other choice is we can hit it into the rail and across to the far side pocket. That means that the cue ball is making contact right here. It's a full ball hit. So there's a slight angle there so the cue ball can be stunned across. Now, this is a little bit dangerous. And the reason it's dangerous is because of this point right here. This point says is going to be a potential double kiss. And so we can hit that and we can use either draw or follow. Follow goes this way, draw goes this way. Okay, so along here we have no shot. So we're going to use follow. So we're going to hit this, we're going to hit it with just a little bit of follow, and we're going to try to stun this forward somewhere along one of those two lines. That's going to be our plan. Now that's a good plan because then we have, if it hits the 9, that's fine. We hit the 9 and we get a shot on the 2 in the side. If it doesn't hit the 9, we've just got a shot on the 2 in the side. And we're either going to be able to stop the cue ball and shoot the 3 down here, or we're going to have a stun angle and be able to come this way for the 3 in the side. Either way is fine. So that's the shot. That's how we arrive at this first shot. So let's go ahead and shoot it. So you can see there, I didn't end up actually getting the forward. I just stunned it straight down, past the 9. Got a little fortunate there. All right, so let's look at this shot on the 2. So the 2 ball goes in. A stunning angle would be over this way, but we're a little close to the rail for that, so we're probably going to have to put top on it. You'll notice that the further this goes, the worse that shot on the 3 gets. So we can do one of two things. We can either try to slow roll this and get somewhere in here, or we can go all the way to the rail and bounce back up. Okay, now you'll notice that the further we go, the better this angle on the 3 gets, up until we get to about here. Once we get there, we're on the straight in class. So anywhere along this line, we've got a shot on the 3. So this is a really good shot to take. Rather than trying to stun and hold it, if you try to stun and hold it and you don't, you end up with a bad angle. So let's go ahead and just hit that with top. We're going to come out somewhere in between there and here are the two places we want to come out. So let's see what actually happens. I'm going to leave those on the table so you can see it. Okay, my angle was a little off, but we're between those two spots. All right. So what can we do here? We can shoot it in the side. We can shoot it in the side, or we can shoot it in the corner. Those are our two options. If we shoot it in the corner, let's take that because that's, to me, an obviously bad option. We would have to put low, to get on the 5, we would have to hit low left, come around. We would have a giant angle here for the 5, where we'd be in line all the way up until the point where we got down here and bounce back up behind the 9. So that there is a giant angle there. It's a fairly safe shot. Because the 5 is so close to the pocket, it's okay to shoot that. However, the further the object ball is away from the pocket, the more precise you have to be. I don't like the precision that you need on the shot itself using low left English. So let's look at the side pocket. So shooting it in the side pocket, Again, the angle looks a little weird because of the angle of the camera. We're going to hit right here, and our natural tangent line is going to take us this way. Okay? And we're going to be in our spot. We can either hit the rail or not, but as long as we are between, yeah, that's actually, let's redraw that. As long as we are about here or closer to the rail, we're okay. So that's the second diamond. So that means we have a 4 diamond area that we can land in. 2 diamonds this way, and then it hits the rail and 2 diamonds back. So that to me is just a very, very obvious way to shoot this shot. So let's go ahead and let's clear our lines, and let's go ahead and shoot it. So we flirted with disaster a little bit, and we got straight in on this. So the good thing is that the 5 is so close to the pocket that I have the choice of anywhere in this angle to shoot it at, to shoot it in. I can use the left half of the pocket, the right half of the pocket. I can shoot in the middle of the pocket. Um, it's pretty straight in. So here are my choices. I can stop the cue right there and just take a really long shot on the 7. I can shoot it into this side of the pocket and force follow 2 rails and out for the 7. Or I can shoot it into that side of the pocket and stun it 1 rail for the 7. So when in doubt, keep it simple. This is why players really like stun shots. There's no reason to go through forcing this. A lot of weird stuff can happen with the 5 as close to the rail as it is. You could end up very easily, if you shot it in this side of the pocket, with force follow, you could very easily hit that rail, come out, and then go forward into the pocket again. There's no reason to make this difficult. Just stun the ball off the rail with a little bit of right hand English so that it comes out it, and it's not going to travel very far because the stun, you're just going to get a little bit of motion. Most of the momentum is going to transfer to the 5 ball, but that's the shot. Stun it and just come off the rail and take the shot that you get. So let's see how that looks. All right, so looking at the 7, we ended up with a weird angle. So we're going to cut it here. There's no doubt about that. That's where it's going. If we're almost straight in. Okay, there's a very, very slight angle. So there's two ways we can go. We can stun, and it rolls off like this, and it only goes a little ways. And even if we pound it as hard as we can, we're never going to get it to come off this rail. Which gives us, I mean, that's not a great angle for the 8. The other thing we can do is we could go forward with it with top left. We can shoot it into this side of the pocket to get as much angle as we can and go forward and let the left carry it basically straight up the table like this, and then shoot the 8 in the top right. So those are our 2 choices. Of the 2, I like going forward on this a lot better. I know a lot of people that, well, and we could also try to draw it. But if we draw it, we have to be exactly perfect to get over to this side of the 8. I really don't like drawing this ball because you only have from about here to about here. That's about a 3-inch landing area. So I really don't like drawing it there. It's too easy to not get right. You'll see players a lot of time land on what they call the 50-yard line. Well, the 50-yard line is the 8 can go here the 8 can go here, which means that we have two landing areas for it. We could land here and shoot it in the side, or we could land here and shoot it in the corner. Those are our two landing areas. And so if you look at the draw shot from here, if we draw back, we're going to come this way. We've got about 3 inches here that we can land in. And then up here we've got a lot of area. So we would have to deliberately overdraw this. And that makes the shot tougher than it has to be. So I really like going forward. It's going to come at a slight angle. The left is either going to come straight up or maybe a little bit backwards. And just getting into this angle, because I can be anywhere from here to here and shoot it up in this corner, and everywhere from here to about there and shoot it in this side. So I've got all this room from basically it never leaves the landing area until it crosses that line. So I like that because it's got a lot of landing area, and there's just no danger of being in the wrong place. You just might have a hard shot. So okay, let's go ahead and play this. There it is. We come straight up. Okay, so on this, we're obviously going to shoot it here. Um, if we try to cut it back here, we're going to have to cut that so thin to get it there. I mean, look at how thin this cut has to be to get it there. It's less than a quarter of a ball. So we're obviously going to shoot it here. Okay, let's look at our potential leaves. So we could go forward, and it's going to go like this, um, and then out. That's coming pretty close to that 9 ball. I don't like that. That's risky. If we get it just a little bit wrong, because remember we can be anywhere from here to here on this 8 ball, and still make it. Um, well, if we hit here, we go up and out, which is just fine. But if we hit this one, we're actually rolling towards the 9, and we could end up down here somewhere. That's really bad. So rather than try to get that precision, I think that the right shot here is take the 8 into the corner and just draw back to the rail and out for the 9. You can be anywhere inside this gigantic angle for that 9 in the same corner. And you're in it the whole time. You would have to really overhit this to get out here and be in trouble. So looking at this, although it seems, and you see this a lot with today's players, it seems like they would play down to this rail and out. It's actually not a good shot. The better shot is just play to draw or stun with a little bit of right hand English, so that when it hits the rail, regardless of whether it's a draw shot or a stun shot, once it hits the rail, it comes straight out. So that's the shot, and let's go ahead and play that. And there it is. You saw that when it hit the rail, it came straight out, and now we've got the 9 ball straight in the corner to finish out the run. All right, and so that's how you. Okay, so let's look at another rack here. Let's go ahead and break them up. All right, so let's take a look at this table. Um, we've got the 1, and the 2 is way up here. So this is a really bad place to be. You can try for this shot. The good news is if you try for it and you miss it, so if you try for the shot, if you try for the shot, okay, the cue's going to make contact here and it's going to roll off this way. Okay, you have a landing area from about here to about here. After that, you're hitting the rail and you're coming straight out behind the three. And even if you hit the three is just going to roll up in the way of the two. So I actually don't like making this shot um, because you're going to have to hit it hard enough to get the one here. And that means you're going to be down in this danger area behind the three. So I like playing this off, missing the shot, and having the cue ball roll down. So let me pause that again. So what you can do is you can hit this thinner, or you can hit it fuller. Either way, send the one down either into the rail there or into the rail there. Either way, it bounces up. Here it bounces, bounces. Either way, you're putting the one ball behind the nine, and then you're running the cue ball down here and out here behind the nine ball. And you've got the two ball there to stop it. So if you get down here and it hits the four, it's going to roll over and bump the two ball, and then the cue's going to still be down by the rail. So there's a pretty easy safety here, and that's what we're going to play. Okay, that's how you. Sometimes it doesn't pay to actually make the shot. All right, another rack. So we hit that a little off to the side. Got kind of a funny leave on this. Okay, so let's take a look at our table. So our our two ball, we've got a shot on that. The cue ball is naturally going to come this way, um, maybe a little bit more might come out here, and it's going to bounce around the three. So this to me, just the natural angle is going to give us our shot on the three. Now the four is our problem on this, and there are two ways to address this problem. And it's really going to depend on our three ball, and we'll take a look at it when we get to the three ball. But ideally, you leave the cue ball somewhere over here and shoot the four in this corner, because or you leave the cue ball all the way down here and you shoot the four into that top right. What you don't want to be forced into is trying to fit into this narrow little angle here between the 9 and the 7. Now, you have to land exactly wrong on the 3 to end up with that. Uh, but there are ways to mitigate this. So let's go ahead and clear these lines off. We're going to play the 2. We're going to come 2 rails around the 3 to get our leave, with the intent that we're going to come off the 3 this way and bounce up here for the 4. That's our intent. So let's go ahead and shoot it. Now, we got bad on this 3. We hit it exactly wrong. Okay, so what are our choices? So let's go ahead and draw our lines for the shot. The 3 goes into this corner. We've got the whole pocket to work with. Shooting the 3 means we're going to make contact there. which means our tangent line is going to be this way. Okay, so let's talk about what happens. If we put top English on this the way we had originally intended, we hit here and we come up here. Not a great place to be. Okay, so if we draw, that doesn't help us. That sends us over this way. We could draw and then play for a safety out of here. So we're going to have to go forward one way or another. We could put top English on it, which takes us here and up. Actually, that's a bad line. We could put top English on it, which takes us here and up behind the 7. We could put top left on it, which again is going to take us here, but it's going to shallow the angle. Or we could put top right on it, and it comes with top right. It comes off a little bit wider angle because we're throwing it, which means we'll be able to manufacture an angle, and spinning it this way. Okay, so that's assuming that we hit the 3 in the center of the pocket. Now, if I hit the 3 into this side of the pocket, that's going to make that angle even wider. And I'm going to come out here, and the spin's going to take me here and out this way. Now, I don't like this shot. You have to be perfect. But if I'm going to shoot at the 4, that may be my best shot. Now, the good news is that if I do end up behind the 7, I can kick at the 4, let the 4 come out and into the center of the table, and the cue ball stays right up here. So I do have a safety option if I try for this and miss. It's not a great one, but at this point, it's kind of the best shot that I've got. I don't like it at all, but that's what I'm going to have to shoot. I'm going to have to shoot this into this side of the pocket with top right, come really shallow, out and around, and end up inside this little cone, or this little area right in here. It's got to be perfect. There is a saving grace here. If I hit this 8, and I looked at this, if I hit this 8 and the cue ball stops where it hits the 8, I have a shot on the 4. So in actuality, I have from here to there. This is my landing zone. But if I overshoot it slightly, I'll still have a shot on the 4. So that's what I'm going to take. I really don't have a choice here. So let's go ahead and play it out. And there it is right in the window. You'll notice that I let it come. I made it as shallow as I could, so that because the further out this way I come, we've got this angle where I'll be able to see the 4, and the further out I am, the more landing area I have. I still only had about 8 inches to land in, but by 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 shallowing that angle, I was able to get it into a place where I had a better chance. If I come in here, I have 2/3 of the area that I actually had because I hit that a little bit harder, but with a little less top. It was more of a stun off the rail shot than it was a top English shot, and that was by design to flatten this angle out. So if we go back and look, so it helps if I clear these. If we go back and look at the shot, right? Okay, so top English goes here, stun goes here, and draw goes here. So stun was obviously the way to play. with a lot of left-hand English to make it come flat off the rail there. And then it comes out a little bit wide here because it's hitting straight into the rail, and it ends up right there. That's the line I took. Those were the choices. Straight up and down, stun it, or draw it. So not a lot of choice on this. I didn't have any control over the angle. There is a slight, ever so slight angle there, but I do have the whole pocket to work with. I do have the whole pocket to work with. So the angle here is off. Even the best I can do is straight in, or I can hit it off to the right side of the pocket, which will make the cue ball go to the left. So this is one of those shots. You're going to hit it hard. You're going to stun it to the rail, and you're going to spin it out this way with left-hand English to try to get the shot on the 5. If you're really lucky, it comes this way, bumps off the 8, and you can shoot the side and the 5 in the side. Uh, but you can't count on that, so you're just going to play for this corner and then deal with it as with whatever you get. So here's that shot. So the short version is I got very lucky there. Um, in a couple of ways. I overhit the shot, but you saw how hard I hit that, and it still just barely got around. That's because the angle was so straight in, uh, and it was the spin that carried it. And I ended up bumping off of it, and now I've got the great straight shot in the side, and I've got a little bit of angle. So I can either stun it and it goes this way and I just take the shot on the 7, or I can go forward off the rail and back out for the 7, which is a better shot here. So that's what I'm going to try to do, and let's look at it. So you'll notice that I put left-hand English on it, so that when the cue ball came off that rail, it went straight into the rail and then it spun this way. I did that deliberately to get a better angle on the 7. You hear Earl talk about this in all of his commentaries about uh, how recreational players, or as he says, the amateurs will just hit that, and the pros will put side spin. Well, the reason that you put side spin is to create these better angles, to get bigger landing areas, the things that I've been talking about as we've been going on. Okay, so so I do end up a little bit on the wrong side of this 7. I'm almost straight in. I've got just the smallest angle here. Um, so this is pretty obvious to me. We don't want to move forward because if we roll forward, we're either going to be behind the 9 or worse, we're going to hit the 9. We don't want to do that. So looking at this shot, you're going to want to draw it. But if you draw it, it's coming this way, right? Well, let me just, for reference, show you the shot there. Um, so if you draw it, it comes straight across. Well, we only have a really good shot right here. So what you're going to want to do is to draw back hard enough that it rebounds off the rail, and you're going to want to put right or left hand spin on it so that it spins out a little to give you a bigger landing area. That landing area goes from about right here to about right here. Um, Still a fairly precision shot, and you have to hit this pretty hard to get that spin because you have to make sure. So you have to make sure that the cue ball on this, because it's of the way it is, it's going to curve. And you have to make sure that curve happens before it gets to the 8. If you hit this too hard, you're going to hit that 8. So let's go ahead and play that. This is going to be bottom left-hand English. It's going to be at the very lowest left I can get at about 7 o'clock on the cue ball. There it is. It bounces out. Okay, I'm in my landing area. Now all I've got to do is stop the cue ball. There's no real choice here. It's just stop it, and then shoot the 9 in. Let's do another one. It was a really bad break. I hit that much softer than I should have. Okay, so I've got a problem right away getting on the 2. I'm going to have to roll forward, and so I'm going to have to roll forward into into this gap. It's the only real place I have a good shot. I'm just going to have to roll forward there. Fortunately, the landing area is from about here to about here, so I can land anywhere in that area. I'll be fine. And then the plan being to come off the 2, hopefully get further on this side. I don't want to be straight in, so I don't want to be right along this edge of this landing area. My landing area is actually going to be about here to get the shot that I want. So that I can hit the 2, stun off the rail, and come out for the 3. Uh, if I get a little bit short on that, I'm going to have some challenges. So I get into the landing area. Now, on this is straighter than it looks. So here's the 2, here's the cue ball. So I'm going to have to cheat this to this side of the pocket to get an angle to get to this rail, and I'm going to spin it to try to get it out for the 3. That's really all I can do. I could force follow and go here, here, and out like this. Um, but you really want to avoid that force follow when it's close to the rail. I mentioned that a few minutes ago. You don't want it to hit the rail and have that spin still be holding and drive you into the pocket. So I'm going to have to create an angle to go this way and try to spin out for the 3 out here. Okay, so my spin doesn't take. What do I have now? I have nothing. This 3 does not go in this pocket. The 9 ball's in the way. Um, so what do I have? I have no pocket for this ball. What I do have though is a great safety that I love. So when you play a safety, you're going to control either the cue or the object ball, the 3 in this case. And so this is one of my favorites because you're controlling the cue ball and it's really easy to judge. The way that this works is here's our line to the rail. Here's the line to the rail here. So what we want to do is we want to aim this about a third of the way across so that our cue ball will come off and will go straight to the rail. If we can do that, then we can manufacture spin to try to drop it in between the 8 and the 9. And we don't care where the 3 goes as long as it clears the 9. As long as that 3 misses the 9 and it's not too close to the pocket, we don't want to make it. Um, so as long as this 3 comes out and goes this way, we don't care. The 3 could be anywhere from about here all the way around the table to about here. That's a 9-foot landing area or more that that 3 ball can be in if we successfully get the cue ball to come to the rail and spin over into that pocket. And not only does that avoid not only does that give us a huge landing area, but if the 3 is anywhere from where I've got marked there to directly straight up, this rail has been taken away from the kick shot. So not only have you impeded the direct shot on it, but you've also taken away the kick shot. So the idea being that you drop it in there. Now, this angle, if you look at it, if we look at the cue ball and we draw a line straight up and down, if this angle is 60 degrees, it looks more like 70 or 80, then I can go from the center of the cue ball and draw a 70 or 80 degree angle, and if I hit on that line, I'll have the spin to go down that line. Does that make sense? This angle is the same as this angle. So if I hit here, the top is going to take it to the rail. The right hand spin that I put on it, the rotation of the cue ball, will take me down the same angle here that I have here. Interesting concept, right? So let's watch that actually happen. I love this safe. If I can drive the cue straight into the rail like this, then I have every confidence of getting my safeties. Straight to the rail, spins over, drops right in there, and there is no shot on that 3 ball. I also took away the 2 rail shot, and that was I didn't care about it, but the 2 rail shot this way is not there either because the 5's in the way. Um, you have to kick it this way, and even if by some miracle the 3 goes in, there is no shot on this 4 ball up here. So when when you're looking at what to play and you don't really have a shot, this kind of safety, I like this a lot better than what a lot of players will do. What a lot of players will do in this case, not so much at the pro level, but at the ranks leading up to it, what a lot of players will do is they'll just roll the cue to the rail right here, and the cue's sitting here, and they try to get the 3 to come right here. I don't like this safety because it allows your opponent to try to drop you behind the 7. It allows them to try to come off here and back up here behind the 9-8. There are too many ways that your opponent can shoot out of this and get a safety if you leave them a clear shot at the ball. Even if it's on the rail, they're not going to make it. They call it a containing safety, but the reality is it's a horrible safety if you have the choice of getting behind something. This safety that I shot, this is an offensive safety. I'm looking for ball in hand so I can get out. I much prefer to shoot offensive safeties. Uh, the only real time you'll see me ever shoot a containing safety, or not at least try to get an offensive safety, is maybe like there's 1 or 2 balls left on the table and it's not really a good angle to get to it. I definitely like offensive safeties. All right, so one more for today. Now, this is just a really unfortunate break. So we're going to have to push. So the first thing is I don't like to push if I don't have to. If I had a little bit more angle and I could get right here, I can't really get to that 1. That angle is like this. And even if I hit the 1, I'm just going to sell out. So I don't want to sell out. So I'm going to I'm going to push. If I had a little bit more angle where I could get this way on that one, I'd probably take that because the one would roll down here and the cue ball would roll over here, and I'd have both a chance of pocketing the ball and a wall here to hide behind. But because I can't, I'm going to push. And like I said, I really don't like. All right, so let's look at this push, okay? So first of all, let's look at where we can make the one. Where can the one be made? It can be made there, it can be made there. It cannot be made in the upper right. It can be made there, it can be made there, and it can be made there. So, knowing that, we know we do not want, okay, well that's kind of funky. We do not want to leave the cue up anywhere up here. Um, Now let's also look at where can the cue go. So the cue can go anywhere to about there. That's our area we can get the cue in. Okay, so we do not, under any circumstances, want to be past, we do not, under any circumstances, want to be past the center line. So this is all out. We don't want anything over here. Okay, we do not want to leave it over here. In this area, you can make it in the side pocket. So we don't want to be here either. So where our potential leaves are is anywhere from here to there. But there's a fairly easy shot to make the one in the side anywhere in here, right? So we don't want it anywhere in here. So let's cross that out. That means our landing area for the cue ball is somewhere in this little section right here or up here. However, we want to keep it where we limit their options. So we do not want to leave it above this line because if we leave it above that line, they will be able to have the full range of cue ball. They'll be able to draw it if they want to. They'll be able to punch it. They'll be able to do anything they want. So we want to keep it down here close enough to the rail. And again, we can't get right here, so that's out as well. This is out. So we need to leave it somewhere in there. We want to eliminate everything they can do. And then we want to look here and say, okay, well, if they're here, what could they do to me? Well, they could roll the one down and roll the cue behind the 6, right? Um, on this side, they could hit the one this way, and roll the cue ball back behind the 7. Um, we're going to look at each position along here and say, where is the best place to leave this? And as it is, what we want to do is we want to look at this tangent line here. Let me make that a different color. We want to look at this tangent line here, and we want to set them directly on it. Okay? Because that one, they either have to run into the 6 or they have to run into the 7. And either way, they lose control of where their leave is. They could potentially cut this back this way, but then the cue ball takes off and they've got no shot on the 2. Okay, so that's kind of out. So our aiming point is we're going to put it as close to the rail as we can get it right in here. That area is where we want it because this gives too much. This shot, oops, this shot anywhere in here gives them too many options to play safe back at us. So this shot that we're looking at is if we can put it right here, then there's a pretty good chance that we're going to get a shot on the one following up. So that is our target. And let's just go ahead and play it and see how that works out. And there we are, right exactly where we wanted to be. They're on the rail. They've got the tangent lines leading into balls, so they really don't have a way to get the cue ball back behind anything. Um, they can't draw, they can't punch. That's exactly how you figure out your push.